to the closing table with Loans by Katrina. I'm glad you made it back. Pull up a seat, grab you some popcorn because it's about to get interesting. I just want you to know I have a friend, a brother who is near and dear to me that is pulling up a seat today at the closing table, and it is about time for him to come because he has been a part of this whole journey from the very beginning. So, today we are talking about the power of connection, a journey that's built on trust, and I'm not even gonna prolong it. Let me bring my brother to the table. Let me bring him. Mackenzie, what's up? What's up?
What's up, doctor, pastor, loan officer, everything,
You
Mrs.
know what?
Everything?
It's a few of y'all who come on and say all of that. I'd be like, for real? I
Thank you
forget
so
about
much
her.
for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, listen, y'all might hear us laugh. Y'all might see a tear or two because you just never know when it comes to he and I because of where we just, started from. So today we are truly talking about the power of connection. And people kind of throw those words out loosely, but I have been in the loan business now for industry, I would say, for almost 6 years. And when I started, you literally were one of the first individuals that I met. So I want to make sure that you can give the background of who you are, where you started before we go into the thing. So just tell us a little bit. I know we're balling, we're sea level now, so we're part of the C suite. So I have to just put your title up there, but just tell us a little bit about yourself.
First of all, thank you for having me. You already know I'm so excited that you even have this platform with everything that you are doing. Being able to have front row floor seats right up on the stage to see you performing at this level is really special. It really, really is because I'm literally watching it, live time. So, but Katrina, I'm just me. Chief sales officer is nice, but I'm just me. I'm just that dad of four kids for real, for real. But I started at Quicken Loans back when they were actually
Mhm.
called Quicken Loans. I believe it was like early 2014. I made it through working, 60, 70, 80 hours a week.
Ooh.
With the I think at that time I was only at kid number two at that time. We hadn't
Oh.
even had number three yet. But I was hustling like it was four kids, and went through all their training. And after their training, they were like, "Hey, look, you can go this route or this route," and just so happened I got kind of put on the fast track route, so I was able to go directly to the veterans floor that they had, if you will, versus new development. They put me on a very specific skill set team to work with like currently service clients and
Mhm.
refinance. It was called the carry division back then. And after a little bit of burnout through Quicken Loans and taking some hits on the chin, learning, failing,
For sure.
um, took some time off, went to UWM for just under 7 years as an account executive, worked my way up to a senior account executive, of course. And throughout that journey, I started connecting with the C-suite people. And that's when things started changing, when I was able to view myself in those rooms
Mhm.
without the title.
Right.
And then from there, after 6.5 years, went to left United Wholesale Mortgage, and then I'm here at Safe Trust. With the opportunity and the vision back in March of 23 was, hey, we want quality loan officers that can grow, that we can really build this thing from the ground floor, from nothing, and we want to
Yeah.
take this to the moon. And it's been a long ride to where we're at now, but uh, that's my background. That's a short, sweet, and simple version.
I love it. I love it. And like I said, we're gonna hear more about it because this is not your last time pulling up a seat to the table. Because, like you said, you've seen it from the beginning when it was like, what am I doing until now? But Mac, before the titles, before Safe Trust, before all of the growth, because there has been much growth between both you and I. And I tell God, thank you for putting God-fearing people in my path, and people like yourself who are was able to see in me what I didn't see as a brand new rookie, LO, just trying to navigate the waters. So did you ever think that our professional and personal relationship would evolve into a family relationship? Because we don't just do loans, we talk, we pray, we shed tears together, we have tough conversations together. Did you what tell me what you saw at the beginning, cuz you spoke life early on before I even knew anything about all of this.
It's kind of in a way, yes, but also you can never really expect things to be what reality presents at that time, right? So it's like, did I have a feeling we would be connected, like actually get a good connection, like we vibed? Absolutely. But I think it was just your attitude and mindset that gravitated me to you. And I naturally want to help people that want to help themselves. And so I saw that as an opportunity to where, I'm so big on making a change. That is my brand. That's been my brand for this long. And I saw that opportunity to where I can make a positive change. I can help someone learn something new. And we were able to take it and run with it. But I think it was through working together very quickly, we were able to both identify, like, okay, there is alignment here. There is a lot of similarities, values, morals, the way that we conduct business that align with each other. And it's crazy to see that that's where we started. Yet after all these years, we've still experienced so much change, so
Yeah.
much growth. It's just unbelievable to think that they're like, it's like you always think that you can get better and you can do more and you can grow and you can grow, but to see how far past the ceiling we've come,
Mm-hmm.
I look at this so much as a us. It's very
For
little
sure.
that I talk about without using you as an example, because you embody success. And
Thank you. Thank
from a
you.
coaching background, coaching high school sports and being involved in athletics, even before like the UWM days, as a coach, you can identify talent,
Come
and
on
you can
now.
also identify people that just want it a little bit more than the next person. And I think that that's what I was able to pick up on you, is that this is a special, talented person that all they need is the right coaching and training, and they're going to the league, and I think that you
Mhm.
set the bar pretty high in the league. Okay.
I
All
love
mortgage
that.
loan officer 2026.
Come through, come. So Matt, you said something just a minute ago. You when we were talking about just the beginning of the relationships, the transitions, and that different you went through different seasons, because you said you started off and you were like, I went into this room and I had some failures and I had some this. What were some of the seasons that really stretched you the most as a leader and a man?
Oh wow. Oh wow. I think, well, my seasons in life change like Michigan weather, and you've been down here and you've been up here enough to where you know what that looks like. So no, I will say there's a couple specific instances. Um, one of the biggest ones, and this is near around our relationship really kicking off, but during COVID, uh,
Mm,
that COVID time, with just everyone's family at that time. You have people that are healthy in your family, people that are already have ailments, and then you introduce this. It causes a lot of uncertainty, a lot of worry, just natural worry
yeah.
of like, what are these times that we're going in? The last time I remember everything shutting down, I was in middle school riding my bike because Detroit had like a 3-4 day blackout, and it was the summertime. That was nothing
Mm.
as a kid, but as an adult, and the world is shutting down around you,
Mm.
it's a completely different look. So I think that COVID between, and also, um, that was also a time to where I was going through my divorce.
Mm.
So between family relationships, family dynamics, just that sun versus darkness balance of people being cooped up in the house and not being outside. Um, business making a huge change and transition. And I know you remember, Katrina, but that's when like Conquest was out with UWM. You got the 2-3% interest rates, but you have to close it in a blink of an eye. That's when they were doing double verifications of employment on people. People were losing their jobs.
Like
Um,
that, yeah.
people went from one required payment on a credit card to now it's maxed out, and that's completely different. So just everything in life changing at once for me
Mm.
was one of the biggest changes in itself. Is just I went through every change you could think of between loss, with relationships, actual losing people, losing business, almost lost my mind. but
I hear that.
but we made it. We made it, and that was a season that stretched me as a man. That stretched my spirit as far as a father, um, and really put it to the test. Like, how are you going to come out of this? There's so many stories that are going to be able to be told from this very specific moment in everyone's lives across the whole world, not just the country, but the whole world. What is going to be your story coming out of this?
Absolutely.
That's where we just had to lock in, though. The seasons were there for that time, and fast forward, and it's summertime right now, so
We outside.
we
We
outside.
outside now. We outside. We are outside now. We
We
are outside. We're
outside for
doing the
sure.
things. It is exciting and good times. Mac, every time I think about it and I go back, I'm like, man. And I used to sit right here. I remember the first time I was like, how do I upload a loan? And you were like, I got you. Call me at 6. And I'm like, he's going to be getting off at 6. I'm sitting right at the same desk, and I remember you saying, we're going to do a Zoom. I want you to record so that you can see it. And I still have the recording. Like, I went back so many times and I could just hear your voice. I was like, let me go back. I had one monitor here, one here, and I was like, I'm watching and I'm clicking and I'm doing the things. And that meant so much to me. Just the fact that you took the time not to do it for me, not to tell me, because a new person, like, I hear you, but it's not resonating fully. And I'm smart, I can do it, but I needed that guidance. And a 35 or 37-minute Zoom changed and helped me to produce, to grow, and just understand that when you're asking for support and help, from a leader, from a person, because in my mind, I saw you as 10 feet tall. Like, of course, we don't meet until we meet at
Right.
that time. Now I see you all the time. But, I was like, oh my God, he's like larger than life. And, a lot of times it's perspective. People, they see our success, like you say, C-suite now, they see the titles, but what they don't see are the sacrifices, the pressure, the responsibility that comes with being a leader, because you are at this time, you are chief sales, but you're also still generating, you're alone, you're still building business, you're recruiting, you're doing all of the things. So in all of that, what has leadership really taught you about people, purpose, and resilience, even your own resilience, because you've gone through some different things. Not, like you said, the divorce was the beginning, but as of late, like, you're still transitioning through some things right now.
I, and that's one of the things leadership has taught me, is that
Mm.
it's the truth behind people want the boss title, but they don't want to pay the boss bill, right?
Oh, come on, come on.
And that's what I've been learning through this, is what that bill looks like. But the reward is this. It's me, 10 years ago, saying I want to show more people that look like me how to
Mm-hmm.
generate wealth in the industry doing this, but also help people that look like me obtain the asset itself to gain the wealth in this industry. Or, just you're either going to buy a home and work with me that way, or
That's
see my
right.
content, excuse me, and you're going to get this education, you're going to get the tools and resources that you need that way, or I'm going to sit down one-on-one with you. I'm going to show you why I chose this career path and what this means to me, and I'm going to show you
Mhm.
how you can turn it in to something of your own, and be able to support your family. Because again, Katrina, I've been doing this a third of my life, but I had kids before I got into this industry, you know.
Mhm.
So I learned very early, like, bartending was great, right? Working those odd jobs were great, right? Running the front house of a restaurant was great, right? These are all things that, can you support your family? Absolutely. And in today's day and age, I'll just be direct, it's a lot harder to that way. It's a lot
Mhm.
harder to. And so when I see and hear about people that want to make these career changes, it's like, I have a purpose. I've identified my purpose. And that's the other thing leadership has taught me, is how to play your role, right?
Oh.
Leading isn't always, just because you have the title of a leader, that doesn't always mean that you need to lead in that instance, right?
Mm.
There's there's always a position for you, and where you play that position matters, right? Because it has to be at that time, at that place. And I feel like, I've been able to learn, like, hey, I'm leading here, but I'm following here. And as I follow, though, what I do is I learn, right?
Mhm.
I'm not going to follow anything that I can't gain from, right? That I'm not going to progress with, right? Because if I'm following you backwards, we're not making progress,
You better
right?
say
So
it.
just being a leader, yeah, being a leader has taught me those things, like sacrifice. It's crazy. I sit in this podcast room, that I'm in now, having this podcast with you, and I remember when it was literally a blank canvas, white walls, no furniture, no decorations, no soundproofing, no audio equipment with soundboards and all that stuff. Definitely no awards in here at the time, you know. But we were able to put it through. And I remember, when we were building this, I was here at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning with it getting put together,
Mm.
you know, and then coming into the office the next day. And so, but that's what it means to lead, though. You have to be able to lead for what the actual vision is, and not for yourself. If the goal is to grow, then you have to go through the growing pains, or you're not going to grow. And a lot of leaders are reluctant of growing
Mhm.
because they shy away from the pain.
Mm.
They shy away
'Cause
from the
it's a
pain. They
lot
shy
of it.
away from, yeah,
It's a lot of
yeah,
pain. So, Matt,
absolutely.
what does that mean? That the sign behind you. What does that mean to you?
Okay, so Mamba this actually ties into, this is so funny you say that too. So, Mamba mentality, the mantra, a constant quest to be the best version of oneself. And as I do more speaking engagements, and as I'm have a microphone in my hand more and more as of lately, one thing you hear me talk about, is, before you reach your success and
Mhm.
professionalism, anyways, there's a lot of personal changes that need to be made before that professional switch levels up. And so Mamba mentality to me means just a forever persistence of perfection,
I love
right?
it.
Like, I'm chasing perfection for the rest of my life, and it's not about obtaining perfection. It's about everything I get by putting in that kind of effort, right? And the reason why there's a little bit of irony behind this, is because my nickname at United Wholesale Mortgage and Sales when I was there was Mamba,
Ah.
because it was just that Kobe Bryant mentality. Like, I'm here to close out the deal. I'm here to secure this partnership. I'm here to grow. I'm here to dominate. And that's the approach I take in all walks of my life. You know,
Hmm.
that Mamba mentality is, what are you willing to sacrifice to succeed? But there has to be a sacrifice made first.
So, Mac, as I think about some of the conversations that we've had, especially as of late, navigating life as life is lifing, how have you been able to And if you're struggling with it, say that too, because somebody needs to hear what you have to say. I've learned that, and being vulnerable and open into the world. How do you maintain balance while carrying the responsibility of leading others and carrying your own stuff?
I remind myself that I'm human.
Mm.
I remind myself that I'm human. I remind myself that I have a God that takes care of everything that I can't. Um,
Ooh.
because it's necessary. There's if I could, Katrina, and you know me, if I could, I'd hands full, arms, shoulders, neck. I'm carrying it like this if I could. Um, but the reality is I have to remind myself I'm human.
Mm.
And I have to I it's very easy for me to put others first. That's never been a problem. It comes pretty naturally for most parents, I would say. If you have
For
kids, it's kind of
sure. For sure.
inevitable, but I think at this point, there's a great balance of putting me first so I can put others first.
Mm.
And I think that that was what I needed to learn is that um, the balance has to come with being selfish, not for a self-centered reason, but
Come
being
on now.
selfish because this is how I get the best out of me for the people I care about. Because especially in sales and what we do or athletics, they always want to talk about the why. And the why is always something so much deeper than yourself, which a good strong why should be. That is the point.
Right.
But if they're the reason you're doing it, what are you doing for yourself to make sure that you can maintain it? Right. We can all have a great year, but then once you have a great year, you blow off your money or you're forming these habits or you're breaking consistency of what you've done your whole life because now you see some kind of reward that you're unfamiliar with. And now you're starting to act different, you're changing. How are you going to go and run it back? If COVID, and it's a very prime example is when COVID happened,
Mm-hmm.
mass mass rush of everyone, their mom, cousin, brother, uncle, auntie, grandma, granddaddy, whoever became a loan officer. Everyone saw success. Everybody made money. Everybody wrote loans. You could go in a grocery store and write a refinance before you check out,
How
right?
about that?
As soon as rates went up, those numbers got cut. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why we talk about the difference between, yes, like everyone can do this job, but when you reach a certain level of professionalism to hit that success, there has to be personal things that are changed. There has to be
Absolutely.
personal things that are addressed. So
That makes sense to me. I want to go back to the kids because as you're a leader in business, you are also a father. And like you said, when you first got into the mortgage industry, you had two, but you don't have two anymore. You have four, and they're not little. Like we're spanning here. We're going into middle school, we're going into all of, so you're stretched across a couple of bands here. So how has fatherhood change your perspective on success, your priorities, and even your legacy? Because it's different now how you move.
it's extremely different, especially because my kids, as much as I tried to raise them to somewhat of a childhood I had, like go out, scrape your knee, ride a bike, climb a tree, get stung by a bee, like figure it out, figure this life out. They're still surrounded by computers, whether they're in
Absolutely.
my presence or not. And it's crazy because when you talk about legacy and being mindful of what you're doing, my kids, honest to God, think I'm famous simply because they can find me on Google. And it's like,
Wow.
no, I'm not famous. But to them, I am. Because it's just as small as that. I Googled you and you came up. And to them, that means everything. So when you talk about like what does my legacy mean, it means everything to me. I want my kids to see what I'm doing in spreading education across different communities. I
Mhm.
want them to also see that there's a life beyond Michigan. You can go travel. You can go travel for work. You can my son, my oldest son, his goal and his aspirations are to become a builder. And he just says, "Hey, what you do makes you happy. I like building things. That makes me happy. And I want to work with you when I get older. I want us to
How
own
about
some stuff
that?
together."
Oh,
Because we're very big on
yes.
entrepreneurship in my household. So being mindful of my kids is it's automatic, right? It's automatic because they're in my face every single day. If they're not in my face, they in my phone, they in my bank, they in something every single day. They in something, you know. And I wouldn't want to be in this with anybody else but them. They're amazing kids, and they remind me of, like, man, I was 13. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize what any of this life was really about, what any of this meant, and yet I've made it here, and I got y'all. Like, y'all are really the prize. Like, y'all, what's the new thing? They the birthday. They
Right,
the
right.
birthday.
Hey, hey.
Yeah. I don't even know if I'm using that right. That's letting you know my age, but no, like they are really my prize. And so I'm 100% mindful of everything that I'm doing, because it is on stage, and I want
That's
them to
right.
also be able to see that this is your product. This is what you are made of, and I'm gonna show you that you are made of good stock, good product, and this is how we perform, right? And so hopefully when they're allowed to get social media, they see
Um,
all the things that we're doing. They see all the things their mom is doing, and they can be proud of their parents because their parents are proud of them. So I
Amen.
think that they're just as famous as me.
I
So
love it. I love it. So, I got to pivot to the stage because, coming to the stage, you are about to take the stage at a pretty big event in Atlanta. What's going on? Talk to me. How can I be down?
well, if I know you, you already got VIP access. You've been booked. You've been booked for a month now. So I ain't worried about running into you there for sure. But um, yeah, tag the American Gift Conference 2026, sponsored and hosted by EPM, or Equity Prime Mortgage. Huge shout out to them. Shout out to Eddie Perez. Shout out to my boy Kenny Phillips, Rogelio. Shout out to Jenna. Shout out RAE Ron, and just the entire team over there. And just like any and all of our lenders, right? Whether it's UWM, Provident, EPM, Loan Stream, Humber, we use so many different lenders. None of them are perfect, but they're all the ones we use. They are all useful. They are all beneficial, and they
For
all
sure.
serve very specific needs. And I just can't say enough good things about what EPM has done for us, especially since we had that exclusive broker visit.
That's right.
I'm looking forward to this conference, and it's funny because I'm big on manifesting. I feel like I've said everything that I'm witnessing now, I've said years and years ago, but it's always God with that slight little revision, you know what I mean? And so I
Mhm.
told God in 2024, I said, I want to speak more. I want to speak more because
Mm,
I like to coach. I like to train. And everyone that I do speak in front of gives me such positive feedback on how it motivates them, it empowers them, it encourages them. And I said, I want to step more into my purpose. So I said, for 2025, I want to speak at UWM Live, the absolute biggest stage, the absolute biggest conference that you can get around. And I didn't have that opportunity. And I was, at first, I was like, oh man, dang, what didn't I do right? You know what I mean? What didn't I do right? And this is also coming after I just spoke at Fuse,
that's right.
AIM Fuse, in 2024. So that's why I was like, hey, look, I want to do more. Didn't get the opportunity at UWM Live. Shout out to my sister Antoinette Gasaway. She ended up getting the call and did a phenomenal job. Couldn't be more proud
Wow.
of her, and I was so happy to see that we were still represented, and that if they got her out of all people, it was really great to see that. So huge shout out to her over at Belong Lending. But I stayed consistent though. You
Mhm.
remember the trip that we had in Atlanta, and I was very specific with my intent and purpose and what my goals were. And that's exactly what happened. I left Atlanta with connections,
I
I left
love it.
Atlanta with growth. And 2026, fast forward, and no, it's not UWM Live, but it's actually more fitting for me because of how concentrated my business is in Georgia, in middle
Gotcha.
Georgia, in metro Atlanta. So it's almost like I've done so much here in Michigan for so long. And although I'm always back and forth to Atlanta, my partners are always like, well, you're only in this pocket for 2, 3 days, and you're in this pocket for 2, 3 days. And then it's like, anytime you're here, you're always working. It's never any time to where we can catch up or even try to schedule anything. So it's like being able to speak at TAG in Atlanta is actually more special to me, because if it wasn't for my Atlanta family, like at loan officers like yourself and other brokerages, shout out to all those guys and girls out there that I worked with. Without that Atlanta footprint that I started with back at UWM to get me to this point, I wouldn't be here without my Atlanta family. So I'm happy to be speaking at TAG. If you haven't registered, register right now.
I know that's right. I know that's right. So, Mac, we are happy that you had an opportunity to pull up your seat to the closing table. And of course, we want you to come back because there are many things that we need to talk about and go a little deeper in. But I want to ask you this question as we get ready to transition. When it's all said and done, after the speaking, after the being a leader and all of the things, what is it that you want people to remember about Mackenzie Barrett the most as it relates to the way you led, served, and showed up for other people? Like, what do you want them to remember? Hey, I remember him. He was blah.
He was who he said he was. I'm a man
Oh,
of he was who he said he was. I'm a man of God. I'm a father, and I'm a professional. I'm here to make a change and make a difference in people's lives. And that's the man I am. That's the man that I present. And that man doesn't always win every single day. There's moments to where that Mac comes out, and Mackenzie kind of steps to the side. But no, at the end of the day, I just want people to say, hey, look, Mackenzie he was definitely high energy. He
for
was
sure.
extremely passionate, sometimes a little bit too passionate,
For sure.
but that's my truth though, and I just want people to, if they when this is all said and done and everything's out the picture, I want that to be what's left in the frame, is that he was exactly who he said he was. And that's what you got every single day, every single second of the day. That's what you got out of him. I'll pray for you. I'll fight for you. And we're going to win together.
I love it. I love it. Mac, thank you for all that you have done for me personally. I say it, I tell people about it. Like, you saw things I didn't see. I know who I am in God. I know who I am. I know I'm a woman of God. I know those things. But in this industry, I didn't know what it was going to be. And the passion that I have for it, you saw that thing early on. So I'm grateful and I'm thankful that you took time, not just, you didn't just treat me like I was just any other account or situation. We had good conversation. We built relationships. All of my realtor partners know you and feel like you're their family too. So I thank you, and I'm grateful that you're my team lead, my leader at this point in my career. I know it's only up from here. And I pray blessings over you that you don't have room enough to receive, so much so that the overflow comes to everyone that's around you, that the blessings and doors that will open from seeds planted for your children, they won't even have room enough for them. They won't even understand it, but it's going to be because of what you're doing in this season. So I thank you for being the man that you are. I thank you for your passion. I thank you for pulling up a seat to the closing table, and I pray that you will come back soon. But at this time, we're going to go ahead and close it out, and we'll talk to you soon, Mac. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Peace, love, and blessings.
All right, family. So that is it for us at the closing table. We will see you next week. So I'm excited. I hope you were excited. Make sure you tag a friend, tell a friend, and share. Like and subscribe the closing table with LBK for sure. And if there's topics that you want to hear, drop them in the chat. I love you. Have a good day. Bye.